Hello everyone, welcome to the fourth topic in this course called data modeling. So these are the topics involved in this major topic, data modeling in Power BI. You have what is modeling and many other subtopics. So let's dive right in. What is data modeling? Data modeling is the process of organizing and connecting multiple data tables in a structured and logical way to ensure efficient querying, analysis, and reporting in Power BI. It defines relationships between tables using keys and helps build a clear structure of your data. Now, what this is simply trying to tell you is that without modeling, if you don't model a data or your tables in a data, it will not help you analyze properly. It will not give you the right results. It won't show you the relationship between your tables. So, and when there is no relationship between your tables, you can't get your right analysis. Now, these are the key components in data modeling that we'll be dealing with. Tables, relationships, primary key, foreign key, model view. As we've mentioned before, tables are where your data is stored. So Power BI doesn't just take the data all at once just like that. No, Power BI sees your data in form of tables. So it can have one table or several tables as the case may be, as your data is. So relationship simply means there are links. You can actually link your fields. Fields here, we're talking about column, the columns of your tables. We'll go into practical shortly. So links between fields in different tables, you can create relationships between them. Primary key. Primary key is a unique identifier in your table. No other values will be the same on that primary key. They will be different and distinct values. That's why it's called primary key. Foreign keys are reference to a primary key in another table. So when you talk about foreign key, it is referencing the primary key on another table. Model view, visual representation of tables and relationship. So let's go into the practical. Open up your Power BI as usual and let's dive right in. We'll be making use of our very first data, which we used in topic 1. We'll be creating a relationship with that data because it has several tables. So let's get data. You should still have, it's an Excel file, so we're clicking on Excel workbook. You should still have the very first data we used for topic 1. So that's where we'll be going to. This is the data, PB sales data. So let's grab that, open up the data, and you will see Power BI will show us the different tables in our data. So just hold on as Power BI is loading. We made use of 4 tables, so we'll also be making use of 4 tables again. Power BI added 2 extra tables to our list of tables, but those 2 extras are not what we want. So we will not be selecting those ones. Here they are. Our tables have loaded up and it's still loading. So we made use of this table. We made use of people's table, product table, and sales table. We will not be making use of the remaining 2 because they are not actually tables. Power BI just separated the sheets into tables. So let's load up our data, but wait for it to preview first. It means it's still coming up. Give it some time. So here it is. It has loaded up. So let's load these tables into our Power BI. So that too is coming up. Once Power BI is done loading the data, we need to go straight into our model view because this topic is called data modeling. So for now, we'll be leaving our report view, we'll be leaving our table view, and we'll be going into the model view. To the left of your screen, that's where the views are. Don't forget that. When we're done modeling, we'll be coming back to create a visual. So please don't click on skip. If you skip it, it will not load your data correctly. So let's check if our data is here on the right in the data panel. Let's see if Power BI has successfully loaded our data. So here you have your data to the right of your screen. Yeah, sorry, to the right of your screen. You have the four tables we selected. So let's go to the model view on the left. Model view here. You can also see the data and the tables we selected. So we'll be working with that. Let's collapse our properties for now. So you can see out of the four tables, three are automatically connected. Power BI has connected them for us. One is here called location. Let's collapse the data also so you can see it clearer. You can also, at the bottom here, you can see the zoom in and zoom out, just like every other Microsoft software. So let's reduce this view. Okay, so okay, so the location, any of the tables you are seeing here, what you have on the inside, all these text on the inside are the columns of that particular table, the different columns. So for product up here, you have the category column, product, size. You can collapse this table view, this model. You can collapse it like this and expand it like that. You can drag it around by double tapping at the top of it or anywhere on it just to drag it around. So let's arrange it in a nice and neat way so that the connections can show clearer. So yeah, I'm putting that there. I'm putting this somewhere by the side. Okay, it's okay here. And then the location, let's put it at the center somewhere here. Okay, so looking at this, you may not know what's going on here, but that's why I'm here to tell you. So let's talk about the relationships first of all. If you hover over this connection here, just stay on these lines here, put your cursor over it, you will see the relationship. You will see that it has highlighted product on the product table and product on the sales table. Let's go over to the people and sales connection and hover. You can see the same thing here. You can scroll down to the bottom of this sales so that the product can show or salesperson can show. Yeah. So this tells you that it is connected by this salesperson's colon. Salesperson's colon here is the connection between the two. While over here, product is the connection between the two. For location, location has no connection and we'll be building one. I'll tell you why shortly. Now, right click on this connection, this cardinality is also called cardinality. Right click on it and you can see delete and properties. So let's go to properties. So we've clicked on that. Okay, edit relationship. Now, a relationship was created by Power BI. Why? Power BI saw that sales here, sales model here, has a salesperson, a column named salesperson. People here also have a column named salesperson. So he decided to create a relationship between it. But when he created a relationship between it, you can see it here. Okay. Also in our edit relationship, these properties, you can see it specified salesperson and salesperson here. Now, he named the cardinality a many to one cardinality. What does that mean? There are three types of cardinality that there can be. Okay, four if you add one to one. But let's walk you through. So many to one simply means you have many on one side. So this asterisk here on the model view where my cursor is, asterisk shows that there are many. This is what is referring to many. One here means this table has one, while this table has many. What that simply means is that the salesperson on the people table is the primary key, and the salesperson on the sales table, salesperson here on the sales table, okay, it's the foreign key. Now, I would explain. We mentioned briefly about foreign and primary key, but now this is the practical. So, if you look at the table we have here on our edit relationship, you would realize that, okay, so let's close this edit relationship so that I can show you on the table view what's going on here. So back to the table view, we're focusing for now on the sales table and the people's table. So it's coming up. Just let Power BI take its time. Here we have the sales table. Then let's also look at the people's table. This is the people's table. Now you can see salesperson here. On the people's table, these are all the salesperson we have. Not one of the salesperson is repeated or should be repeated. That is why it's called the primary key. It is unique. I mentioned earlier that primary keys are distinct values. So Bar Forney, the first person's name, will not be repeated here again. Obisore will not be repeated here again. Dottie Strutley will not be repeated here again. That is why it's called the primary key. So this is for people's table. But now looking at sales table, let's see. The salesperson Obisore here is repeated here again, Obisore. The salesperson, let's see any other repetition. Oh, here it is again, Obisore in two places. Let's see again, Obisore, and just like that, salesperson is allowed to be repeated here because it is not a primary key, it is a foreign key. It was taken from this people's table. People's table is the original owner of salesperson column. This salesperson column. People's table is the original owner of it. That's why it's not allowed to be repeated here on the people's table, but it's allowed to be repeated here on the sales table. So that's what we mean when we say primary and foreign key. Let's look at the other relationship we have in our model view. We have this relationship between the product and relationship between the sales. You can see both names are called product. Product in the sales table, product in the product table. The names are exactly alike, and that was why Power BI created an automatic relationship between it. If you right click on that and you check on the properties, you would also see that it has created a many to one. Many to one is the cardinality here on this relationship. Cancel that and check again for the relationship between people's and sales table. It's also a many to one. So let's go and view it in the table view and see what's actually going on. Okay, we have the product. So this is the product table. Product table here has products. Product is its primary key, or let's say product column here is a primary key to this product table, while product here on the sales table is a foreign key. As you can see here, you have orange choco on the first row, you have orange choco on the second row. So items are allowed to be repeated, seeing it's a foreign key. Going back to the products table, you find out that items are not allowed to be repeated because it's primary to this table. You can see drinking cocoa, there's no other drinking cocoa here. 99% dark and pure. So every value is unique. Going back to the sales table, you can see that not every value is unique here. So that's that about foreign and primary key. Now let's go back to cardinality. We were about to explain what cardinality is all about. So right click on any of the links or connections and click on the property. Properties will bring you here. Now, Power BI knows when we're talking about a many to one. Many to one simply means it's repeated here. I told you the asterisk here shows it's many, is repeated here. The one here shows you the values are distinct here. So that's the meaning of many to one. Then when you talk about one to many, it's just the reverse. It means it will be one here and it will be repeated here. That's the meaning of one to many. As you can see, the arrow is moving. The arrow is pointed in this direction. It's pointed to the many direction. So that's why it's named many to one. So also on this connection is pointed to the many, so it's named many to one. When it is one to many, this arrow will be pointed backwards, pointing to one. Then it will be one to many. And the reverse is also the case. The meaning simply means many unique values are connected to one values on the other table. Talking about one to one, just as the name implies, you have one unique value to another unique value. So it's going to be a primary key on one table and also a primary key on the other table. They are going to be the same. They are going to have exactly the same primary keys. It's not going to be repeated. The values are not going to be allowed to be repeated. That's why it becomes a one-to-one. Now, one-to-one is not often used because it creates complexity. It creates ambiguity in your data. Also, many to many. Many to many is not often used as well. It also creates ambiguity. So what is frequently used is primary key on one table, foreign key on the other table. That will be the connection. So that's that about our cardinality. So let's save that. We're not changing anything. If you want to change the connection, something has to be the same, maybe product, and then there will be another, or maybe, okay, let's do an example here. So canceling this dialog box. Look at this location. You can see Power BI could not detect the connection between location and any other table here. Now let's go to our table view and see what's going on. Okay, the location here has two columns. It has the geo column and it has the region column. Now, let's look at our people's table and see if there's anything similar to geo or region. You have the picture, salesperson, team. So there's nothing related to geo or region here. In the product table, you have the category, the product, and the size. There's nothing related to geo or region here. In the sales table, you have the amount, boxes, customers, dates, geography, product, and salesperson. Now, geography here is related, definitely related to geo here on our locations table. So let's see what our geography looks like on our sales table. So going to the sales table, just click on sales. And here is our geography. We have Australia. Australia is repeated severally. Then you have Canada. Canada is also repeated severally. You have USA. You have New Zealand. So let's go back to the geo in our locations table. You see the same names here in our geo. So it simply means geo here is the primary key of this table, and geography here in sales table was the foreign key. But Power BI couldn't create the connection because the names of the columns are different. So over here you have it as geography, and over here in locations you have it as geo. So let's head back to our model view. Now that we know there is a connection, now that we know our geo here is related to our geography here in sales table, let's create a connection. All we need to do is double click on any of them. Either you double click on geography, or you double click on geo on your locations, and you drag it to where geography is. So the dialog box pops up again, and this time around it has the title new relationship. So it highlighted the two tables we tried to join. It has a one-to-many relationship. It has a one-to-many because we picked the geo first and dragged it down to the geography. If we had picked the geography and dragged it down to the geo, it will have a many-to-one. So they go both ways. So once you save this relationship, the relationship will be created. Let's wait for it. So here we have our connection. Our connection has been created. If you look at it, it's a many-to-one relationship, just like the others. So click outside the line and click on the line, or put your cursor over the line, and the relationship is shown. So that's that about creating relationships. It's called data modeling. You can now arrange it as you like. If you decide to put it here, the relationship is still there, but it's not well arranged. So let's bring it down here. Putting it down here is a good arrangement. So let's go back to our report view and create a visual for this relationship. Now it is related. In our first video, we did not create this relationship. This relationship between locations and sales was not there. The locations table was standing on its own. So you are going to see the difference and the usefulness of data modeling. Now we'll create a visual, we'll create a report exactly as we did in the initial topic, in our topic 1, but you see the difference between it. So in our topic 1, we made use of the donut chart. So just click on donut chart and donut chart appears here. Let's enlarge this view. Okay, click outside the chart and then click on our bar chart. We also made use of the stacked bar chart, stacked column chart. So let's put that somewhere beside the donut chart. So head over to the donut chart, click on it, and in our first topic, we were checking for the amount of sales made per location. So we're making use of the amount and we're making use of the geo. So click on the geo and click on the amount. Click the checkbox there. Power BI would automatically create our visual. Let's drag that down. Yes. So click on the stacked column chart and also check the geo and the amount and see what the chart looks like. Now you can see that this is quite different from how our chart looked initially when there was no connection between our location and the other tables. So that's the usefulness of data modeling. It gives you the accurate analysis for your data. It shows you the relationship. It's able to relate its data, its content with other tables and give you the exact connection and the exact visual. So looking at these two visuals, you can see there's a blank here. Just hover over it and you can see the blank. On this other visual, you can see the blank taking up the blue space. So it means this data is quite dirty. It has some blank spaces. So let's clean up this data as we learned in our previous topic. So head over to the transform data at the top ribbon and let's take away this blank. Click on transform data. Once you click on transform data, it takes you straight to Power Query. Power Query Editor helps for the cleaning of your data. So you can see here it says this preview may be up to 9 days old. What that simply means is that it's been a long time since we refreshed this particular data. Since we did it in our first topic, Power BI wants to check if any changes has been made to our data source. So just click on refresh and see what happens. Power BI would gather any updates it has on your data and put it there for you. So let's go to the other tables. People table. You can see it also wants you to refresh here and update its data source. So it has done that. Do that for the remaining tables as well. Just refresh. Lastly, the sales table, refresh that also. Okay, we are good to go. Let's spy back on our Power BI visual. Going back there, you can see that this blank, if you click on it, it's also the same here. The blue is more like you are filtering your visual with this blank. You can see that the blank here, blue, showing our legend on this donut chart, is on geo. The blank is on geo. But in our geo, we actually have only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 countries. So why is it showing blank? So let's head back to our Power Query and see what's happening. If we go to the locations table, you can see we have 6. So let us remove blank spaces by that's right clicking on the top header. We'll go to transform. On transform, go to trim. Trim there helps you remove every blank space, every white, like every blank spaces each text may have around them. So just click on trim. That's done that for you. Let's also go to the sales and check our geography and trim it also. Can you see some white spaces at the front? It's irregular. Some started from the very beginning, some are shifted backwards, and just like that. So let's trim that too. Click on the column, right click, go to transform and trim. So once you do that, it has removed every white space. So for now, that's all the cleaning we want to do to this particular data. So let's close and apply. Just click on the close and apply there, and it will apply those changes we've made on Power BI, on Power Query, sorry, to our Power BI. So you can see it's only showing that we made changes on the locations table and on the sales table. So it has applied those changes. So click on your Power BI screen, click on any of the visuals, and you can see it has come alive. Now it looks something like what we did the last time, but now with a better connection between our tables. So it has taken away the blank spaces on both visuals, and our Power BI is working very well. So let's check for the connection we made on our model view. Okay, the connection is still there. So you see, if we did not make this connection between the locations table and the sales table, we wouldn't have known that our data needs some special cleaning and the blank spaces needed to be taken away. So we've confirmed that our relationships are working. Now we can save our data. But before we save, a quick recap on what we've done so far. We talked about data modeling and the structure, the tables, how they are related. We talked about the cardinality and what makes them related. We talked about the automation that Power BI does to our tables to automatically relate them once they have the same name, same column name. We talked about many to one, one to many, one to one, and many to many cardinality relationship. We also touched on the views, the primary keys and the foreign keys here on our table view. We talked about that and how they are related. What makes Power BI pick up one value and name it many to many or one to one, or one to many or many to one. We talked about the arrangement, how we can actually edit, we can change the structure, we can move it around, we can edit this relationship, change it to whatever we want to do. We can even cancel a relationship. By the time you right click on it, you can delete this relationship and the table will no longer be related. If maybe you made a mistake on your manual creation of relationships, you can delete that relationship. But we also talked about how all tables should be related in order to give you a perfect analysis of your data. So that will be all for now. Let's save this file. Click on Save As, browse your device. You can save it as data modeling. Click on save and your Power BI file has been saved. So here the name has changed to data modeling. So that's all for now. See you in our next class. Thank you.